Friday, folks. Thanks for tuning in to another Cruise with Smooth. Hope y'all are doing okay today. So I've been kind of keeping up on, pardon me, I just finished my whatever meal it is you eat at 4 o'clock in the afternoon in your car on the way to work. Pardon me, I apologize. So I've been listening to the news today, and the thing that it really got me thinking about is privilege. Now, I think that it would be fair to define privilege, and I think the easiest way is a status or ease that you did not earn. So, as a case in point example, the kid that gets given a car by his parents versus the kid that saves up money at his first job to buy his first car. Okay? The one kid may have earned, his parents said, hey, you keep your grades up, we'll buy you a car. So he may have earned it that way, but he didn't put in the sweat equity for it, so to speak. He didn't, flip burgers at McDonald's or, bust his butt working this job to get his first car. I have no problem with either one of those, but you get my point. And that got me thinking about this video that I seen forever ago. It was taken at a summer camp. Bunch of kids out in a big open field, being kids. And they were early to mid teenagers in their age. And where it got interesting is that there was an activities coach, I guess, that was there, and he got talking about privilege to these kids that were at the summer camp. And the way he explained it to them is he got them all lined up. They were gonna race across this field on foot. Got them all lined up, and he said, if you have never had to help your parents pay a utility bill, step forward. If you have never, or if both of your parents lived at home, step forward. If you've never had a utility bill cut off, step forward. If you've never had if you've never skipped a meal because there wasn't enough groceries in the house, step forward. If you've never, what was some of the other ones? If you never had to work a job after high school, step forward. You get my point. It was a bunch of stuff, the things that teenagers that have had it rougher have had to do sometimes. And by the time he got done, and there was probably around 10 different things that he had these kids sort themselves with. And the starting line had been broken up completely by the time he was done. It was not a line. They were staggered somewhere around the third of the way mark to the finish line, all the way back to the very beginning. And then he had all the kids look around, and they were racing for a $50 or $100 bill. First one to get there got the money. The thing about that I thought was the most interesting is it had zero to do with skin color. A lot of it had things to do with situations that are outside of your control. You know, your parents' decisions, ability, competence, fortune, as far as, you know, okay, you can have a parent that's doing everything they can, doing their best, but if they have a unfortunate loss of a job that's not their fault, or, you know, the company downsized or the company closed, you know, that ain't their fault, but that could cause some of those things to happen. But that was the thing that impressed me the most with the way that he sorted these kids, is none of it had anything to do with race. It was things that were outside the kids' control in life. And I think that that's where privilege comes from, but a lot of it some of the things the parents can control. Like, okay, you can't control if your company goes underwater, but you can control how good of an employee you are. And that, how close that puts you to the chopping block. According to my wife, who I do believe, she's the top employee out of her orientation class. She's been with her job for a little over 4 months, and there's a distinct possibility that by the end of the year she could end up in a supervisory role. That's just putting in the work and doing it. When I started at my job, I was rather nervous the first month or so. They were trying to put me in a job that was too short for me. I'm rather tall, and I was 4 inches taller than the tallest person I'd seen do the job. I physically didn't fit. I got moved to a different area. I was doing just fine and dandy there, and within a year I had learned over 10 different jobs in that area, and a year and a half in, I was a backup team lead, which knows all the jobs and and some of the repairs. Like if you have building trucks, suppose you have a part that the forklift doesn't get it to the assembly line in time. Well, that means that you've got to go install that part on the truck once it gets to the assembly line. Well, since things might go in on top of that, or get plugged in, or get tightened to it, there's a ton of no way. No, thought that was a buddy of mine. So not only do you have to know the jobs in your area, but you've got to know other operations, how to fix it. Give you a case in point example real quick. A motor mount didn't go on right on one of the trucks. The bolts, the fastening tool didn't, or the torque tool didn't get on the bolts right. And so I had to go fix it. Well, that was the inner mount, so there's 3 bolts that you had to fix on that. The outer mount had to go on. There's one massive bolt, like that thick, that has to be put on. And then the AC compressor goes on. You had to put that on, had to put the AC compressor lines on, had to put the fan belt on, and the fan clutch. Just things you had to learn. And I was doing all that within a year and a half. And doing decent enough at it. I did that job for almost 2 months a few years back, and I didn't want it. I had other issues, but I got that due to hard work. I didn't mind learning. I didn't mind working. And the management knows. I've been there 5 years. I've been written up, twice? I think. And one of them was a nothing. Been there 5 years, and I've never been in attendance trouble, and we've got a very tough attendance policy. The way it